We're all off to Australia, or at the very least the WWE is off to Australia. It's time for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. The Royal Rumble is out of the way. Wrestlemania is kind of starting to take shape if people can please stop being injured. So what are we expecting from the big showcase in Australia? First and foremost, Rhea Ripley, and a lot of it. Rhea Ripley is going to be the crown champion, the returning hero, the conquering hero that comes to Australia as champion, leaves as champion, and has a brand new challenger lined up for Wrestlemania. Let's go through the match card, let's go through the predictions, 2 championship matches, 2 chamber matches, and 2 Rhea Ripley moments to very much enjoy for the Elimination Chamber in Australia. As you might be able to tell from that intro, I'm starting with Rhea Ripley. We have a women's championship match all lined up. They were building to it on Raw. They've been building to it for months. Nia Jax returned and immediately went after Rhea Ripley, but the actual championship match hasn't happened yet. At Elimination Chamber, I have the show opening with Rhea Ripley getting that crowd going, defeating Nia Jax. This will be Nia Jax's first loss since returning to the WWE, and it's the ideal time to continue a build of Rhea Ripley to be an absolutely unstoppable monster in the build-up to her WrestleMania match. Nia Jax will be fine. I have her going to WrestleMania to get thrown around by Jade Cargill, but for me that sets up Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley somewhere further down the line. She will not be winning the chamber tonight, or in fact be in it. But I do have Rhea Ripley opening the show, standing victorious, and then later on she'll find out her challenger for a final stare down. That's one championship match out of the way. Let's move on to our first chamber match. I have the men's chamber match here to determine who will face Seth Rollins. If you genuinely think Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins is going to happen, I have some magic beans to sell you. Cody Rhodes will be facing Roman Reigns. If you've seen my shorts recently, you'll know that even CM Punk, after announcing his injury, told Cody Rhodes that he had to go and finish the story. To take CM Punk's spot, we have a number of competitors. In this chamber match, I have Randy Orton, Gunther, AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, and Shinsuke Nakamura. 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown, one of whom will go on to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Spoiler warning, it's someone from Raw. I want to go through the likely winners in perpetuity, starting with the least likely, Shinsuke Nakamura. We've already seen Shinsuke versus Seth a number of times and on a number of occasions, and ultimately each individual match didn't really set the world on fire, especially compared to what came before. Shinsuke Nakamura's had a really good rebuild, but he's still not quite at the top level required to be a genuine threat to Seth. LA Knight is 5th for me. While he's been building really well, I don't see him as a WrestleMania level competitor for a world championship. That said, I do have him competing for a slightly different championship at WrestleMania, and with another part-time champion who keeps telling us he's full-time and not turning up. 4th, AJ Styles. While we have got history between AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, primarily in a Money in the Bank championship match for the Universal Championship many moons ago, and in fact the championship match that debuted the World Heavyweight Championship, as much as I enjoy the quality that we get from that, I don't necessarily think this particular match is what we're going to see for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. In fact, I'm a little concerned that AJ Styles might not even make WrestleMania. There are people ready and willing on the SmackDown side. I think it's certainly possible that AJ Styles versus LA Knight could be on the plan there, but I also think it's possible that AJ versus Kevin Owens is coming. We'll see how that goes. They did compete for the United States Championship for quite a while previously. 3rd is Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has had another rebirth recently. He's gone back to the Scottish psychopath, and I've missed it so much. He's really effective in his promos recently. He's bringing really good stuff out of CM Punk. He has also lost a lot of matches to Seth Rollins quite recently. We haven't heard any further news as regards Drew McIntyre's contract. To my knowledge, so far nothing has been signed. We're waiting to find out more. But if he's not going to be signing, he certainly shouldn't be anywhere near championship matches. That said, WWE, what are you doing? He's this good right now and you haven't signed him? What the hell? And then there were 2. Randy Orton comes 2nd. I see him in a prolonged final feud, or final match I should say, in the Elimination Chamber against Gunther. But Randy Orton, while a significant threat, would not be going to WrestleMania in that spot. I have Randy Orton going to WrestleMania to beat Solo Sikoa, Jey Uso going to WrestleMania to beat Jimmy Uso, leaving Cody Rhodes with a clear path to dethroning Roman Reigns. In fact, for Randy Orton, while he has a lot of history with Seth, while he's responsible at WrestleMania 31 for the RKO reversal out of a curb stomp that is the stuff of legend now, I do think he has different fish to fry at WrestleMania, leaving the door wide open for Gunther. The plan for WrestleMania, as I reported 4 months ago, was for Gunther to be challenged by Brock Lesnar in a losing battle for the Intercontinental Championship. Brock Lesnar would go away with his tail between his legs. Instead, that tail between his legs moment has been brought forward by a few months. That still left options for the Intercontinental Championship, and I still think an Intercontinental Championship match takes place on night 1 of WrestleMania. However, we could still see Gunther defeating whoever his challenger is for the Intercontinental Championship and then winning the World Heavyweight Championship on the same event over the 2-night format. The loss of CM Punk has hurt the WWE, but with the amount of talent they have, including names like Gunther, it hasn't hurt them that much. We go next to the only rematch on the card for the United States Championship. Logan Paul managed to escape the justice of Kevin Owens primarily by getting punched in the face repeatedly, or at least the one time with the brass knuckles. Kevin Owens was caught, and that means we still have a few things that they need to iron out. I don't see this going all the way to WrestleMania, so it will need to be a lot more decisive from Kevin Owens, but what I will say is that while this is the only rematch, it is asking a lot of a Logan Paul who ultimately hasn't been there very regularly. I think it'll be a good match, I think it'll be quality. I just don't know if they can massively improve on what happened at the Royal Rumble, given the fact that Kevin Owens is currently working with an injured foot. That said, The Undertaker had an injured foot when he threw Mankind off Hell in a Cell, so magic can still happen. Speaking of magic, we go then to a match I never really expected to see, but one that could be a future WrestleMania main event if people play their cards right. Brock Lesnar was due to face Dominic Mysterio at the Elimination Chamber as he built towards facing Gunther at WrestleMania. At the Royal Rumble, Bron Breakker stepped into the Brock Lesnar-sized hole and did so with aplomb. Bron Breakker really showed what he could do, and I'm absolutely thrilled to see him spending more time on the main roster, at least once his issues with Baron Corbin have been ironed out. I know they're a tag team, I just don't think they're it, you know? So Bron Breakker could very well go to Elimination Chamber to take on and defeat Dominic Mysterio. Likely a bit of a squash match, it certainly would have been with Brock Lesnar, and an opportunity for Breakker to really show what he can do. Bron Breakker facing off with and defeating Dominic Mysterio. This leaves us then with our main event, 6 women, 1 chamber, to determine who faces Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. As this is going to be the Rhea Ripley pay-per-view, I have Ripley coming down to ringside and joining commentary in the build-up to and including all of this match, so that she can end the show holding up a championship and facing off against a contender. I have 6 people, once again, free from Raw, free from SmackDown. Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane, and Becky Lynch. Naomi is a possibility for this as well, though I don't think she'll be taking a big loss too soon. What happens here depends a lot on what the plan is for Damage Control. My personal calendar has Bayley no longer in Damage Control by this point, and having already declared for Iyo Sky. This creates opportunities. I have Dakota Kai on the outside of the ring, helping Asuka and Kairi Sane work as a team, and the Elimination Chamber format will undoubtedly help them. I definitely think Asuka will be starting the match, though I'm not sure who against. I'd be keeping my eye on Bianca Belair personally. With this in mind, I think the least likely winner will be Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler has great pedigree in Elimination Chamber matches, but she simply has not had the rub of the green in a very long time. She just hasn't been a key contender, and even though she should be someone regularly stepping up to Rhea Ripley, she hasn't really been seen as a considerable threat. Shayna Baszler least likely to pick up the win for me. Unfortunately, even though she's just returned from injury, in 5th place I have Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is a tremendous talent, and I can see championship reigns coming. I do think SummerSlam versus a Rhea Ripley or a Becky Lynch or a Bianca Belair would be a great moment for Liv Morgan. I just don't think that moment is coming this soon. Liv Morgan overwhelmed by the Asuka Kairi Sane team and knocked out of contention because of it. This leaves us essentially with two tag teams, Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch on one side, Asuka and Kairi Sane on the other, and this is where Damage Control starts to fracture. Honestly, if she's cleared, I'd have Bayley attack Dakota Kai on the outside, because why the hell not? That provides a fitting distraction. Asuka is 4th, Kairi Sane is 3rd. Simply because Kairi Sane versus Iyo Sky is something we haven't seen as much as Asuka versus Iyo Sky, for example. Our final two then would be Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, a concept I cannot hate under any circumstances. We've seen these two go to war on a number of occasions, throw a chamber around them, surely things can only get better. While Bianca Belair is in the ascendancy in their overall feud, winning a lot more matches than Becky Lynch when it's one-on-one, Becky Lynch wins this one, and it takes a little longer than the 10 seconds she's won it in previously. I have an image in my head then. Having been victorious, the chamber rises, everyone else rolls to the outside of the ring. Rhea Ripley steps in, holds up her championship and says to Becky Lynch, "I'll see you at Wrestlemania." Becky, for her part, simply points at the Wrestlemania sign. Let me know what matches you expect at Elimination Chamber in the comments, and if you want to know my Wrestlemania predictions, click on the video on the screen right now. Enjoy!